Hello everybody, good afternoon. Today's Tuesday texting Torah challenge is the following. Jacque, the chef, asks his neighbor Fred to please turn off my stove in 30 minutes. He has to get out of the house. He has to leave. Fred agrees, as a good neighbor should. But guess what? He forgets to do so. Jacque gets back in the afternoon. Not like a good neighbor. Jacque gets back a number of hours later and he finds that his beautiful steak, his beautiful meat, has been totally destroyed. Let's say, for argument's sake, the number of different steaks and everything destroyed the whole pot. You know, when you cook a pot for too long, the damage is estimated at well over $100 plus emotional damage, if you could claim that, because of the how distraught you are over the loss of your steak. Is the neighbor, is he chayav to pay for the damage? So here we go. I saw all the responses. I haven't looked at anything yet. It says in Choshed Mishpat, in Siman, Reish, Tzadi, Vav, Sif, Katan, Hey. What does it say? It says the following. There's a machlokas. There's an argument between the Machaber and the Shulchan Aruch, which is based on an argument of the Rishonim, which is the Baalei Tosfos and the Rambam. And what's it based on? It's based on the following. At what stage does a shomer, does a guardian, take responsibility for what he accepts? When there's no kinyan, there was no transaction that took place. All the neighbor said was, I agree. That is not a formalized kinyan. There wasn't a formality of accepting guardianship and responsibility. According to the Rambam says that, believe it or not, you are obligated. It says, the Rambam says you need a kinyan. Without that formality, he is not liable. And therefore, the neighbor would be exempt. According to the Tosfos, according to the Ashkenazim, you do not need a kinyan. And a shomer, a guardian, is responsible as long as he or she says, yes, I will take care of that item. The Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah argue, right? Classic argument between Ashkenazim and Sfardim. And what is the halacha when there's a machloket with the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah? The general consensus is the following. When there's discrepancy with monetary laws, you have to prove that he's wrong. Since there really isn't a concrete proof, the neighbor would be exempt. He would not have to pay Jacque. The only exception might be if, let's say, you were to somehow, the owner of the house, Fred, would get a hold of Jacque would get a hold of Fred's watch. Because let's say he watches his watch, or he gives his watch as he might be allowed to keep it as compensation for the money that was destroyed 6 months earlier. That actually might be the case. If somehow we were to legally get a hold of someone's possession, he might be allowed to keep it as compensation. But otherwise, generally speaking, a court of law would not be able to extract money from Fred, who was this negligent type of neighbor, because even though he was posheya, even though he was a little bit negligent, the question is, what was his level of accountability? Could be he's not fully accountable to be a shomer chinam, to be an unpaid guardian, because he did not accept in a formal way, which might allow him wiggle room of not being obligated to pay back the compensation for the steak and for the pot. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And that is Tuesday's Texting Tour Challenge.
You thought it was Wednesday.